welcome to the graduation ceremony of the Department of Political Science. My name is George Manberg, and I have the honor of serving as the department's current chair. Every year at this graduation ceremony, the Political Science Department recognizes an outstanding alum of our department. Past winners of our Distinguished Alumni Award include Judy Woodruff, Adam Silver, and Jay Billis. Like past honorees, this year's recipient exemplifies the values of Duke University. But her career also proves conclusively that unlike economics, ours is not a dismal science, but one that lends itself to laughter. After graduating from Duke with a BA in political science, Amy Gravitt joined the Navy, where she rose to the rank of lieutenant. She then shifted gears to entertainment, taking a position with George Clooney's production company. In 2004, she joined HBO and was named Executive Vice President for HBO Programming in 2016. In that role, she oversees the production of original comedy series. Among other shows, her portfolio includes Silicon Valley, Entourage, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and, fitting for a political science major, VEEP. In recognizing Amy, we're particularly pleased that her husband Eric and children Rami and Jack are able to join us here today. Amy, congratulations on this award. We're proud to call you an alum of our program.
Hello. I'd also like to congratulate the class of 2018 and the families who are with them here today, especially the moms. As the mother of Jack and Romy, I have to imagine that watching your child graduate from Duke is pretty much the best Mother's Day gift one can receive. As I gathered my thoughts for this speech, I realized that one thing my Duke degree did not prepare me for is this very moment. I'm a listener by nature, and at work I spend my time helping other people turn their stories into television shows. And if I'm totally honest, to this day, I'm haunted by what was an incredibly underwhelming performance, listening more than contributing 23 years ago in Professor Fever's American Civil Military Relations class.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. You'll imagine my anxiety when I discovered he would be sharing the stage, but that quickly turned to delight at the sight of a familiar face. He has reassured me I did just fine, and I've enjoyed what you all have been up to in his classes. Kudos to all involved in the D team, the final project for American Grant Strategy through film. If your parents weren't here, I'd tell you you could easily make a go of it in the entertainment industry, but they might have bigger plans for you. I didn't have anyone to tell me that when I was at Duke. I was here on a Navy ROTC scholarship. It was 1995, and as you'll say someday about your years here, it was a simpler time. I didn't have a lot of options. I knew exactly what the next 4 years would entail. The day before commencement, my fellow midshipmen and I took the oath of office in the theater of the Bryan Center, over that way, I think. And after a year of training, I was assigned to an aircraft carrier, the USS Constellation, as one of 10 women on a ship of 5,000. We set sail across the Pacific to the Persian Gulf, where every 90-second Navy shower that left me smelling of jet fuel was a welcome relief from the sweltering heat, something that Durham might have prepared me for. At the time, if you told me the rigors of my Navy beginnings would lead to success, we'll get back to that word in a minute, in the entertainment industry, I never would have believed you. But it did. It taught me discipline and imbued me with a sense of being a part of something larger than myself. Maybe, most importantly, it gifted me a different perspective, a perspective few in my industry share. To me, perspective is paramount, whatever career you choose. It's what makes you you and not me. Some of my most important relationships, both personal and professional, have been with people whose experience, whose perspectives couldn't be more different than mine. What I have in common with these folks is a curiosity and an openness to new experiences, and the belief that you shouldn't know exactly where you're going, or or you'll never get there. If back on that carrier, my goal had been to be head of comedy at HBO, I never would have reached it because I would have been looking too far ahead and the leap would have been too big for me. I'm living proof that there's no set path, nothing is written for you, and it's okay if you don't know where you're headed right now. You shouldn't. You should know that your relationship to Duke won't end when you drive away from Durham this week. As each year passes, your relationship to this campus will grow, and your nostalgia for Duke will expand beyond the 4 years you spent here with one another to span generations and be shared with any Blue Devil you encounter, even old gals like me. And over time, you'll realize you gained enough experience to be able to give back to the place that gave you your start. Duke has been there for me at the pivotal moments in my career. When I left the Navy and was applying for my very first job in the industry, that internship at George Clooney and Steven Soderbergh's production company, my resume landed on the desk of a fellow Duke alum. From a huge stack of resumes, she pulled the one from the Duke grad, and that was the very first step in the journey that brought me here today. That shared history at a crucial moment was enough to get me in the door. Before I knew it, I was driving around the Warner Brothers lot in a golf cart, fetching coffee, and reading fan letters addressed to George's pet pot-bellied pig, Max. It's true. Don't be afraid to do those small things. Each cup of coffee I grabbed was a step towards my current position. 14 years later, I remember two things about my early days at HBO. One, I thought if I could just figure out the phones, I was gonna be fine. And two, in a completely foreign world of stand-ups and comedy writers, I knew I'd finally found my people. After many years of paying my dues and rising through the ranks, I'm now what some might call successful. Here's the thing I've come to learn about that word. Most people never feel successful. It's difficult to measure and hard to embrace. It's just not something you feel for yourself. You can recognize it in other people. Wow, they have it all figured out, a home, beautiful children, a solid career, a regular workout routine, and on and on. That person is successful, you'll think. But when you take a tally of your own life, you won't see it as such. Sure, you'll have those exact same things, but you'll also have a toothache and a list of things that need fixing in your house, and some fight you had with your partner or your kids last night. And these aren't things successful people endure. Successful people have big, clean smiles and new dresses and pictures of themselves on Instagram at fancy parties and such. And so do you. But again, you also have that toothache. You'll also never feel successful because the bar will keep moving. The human mind always craves more. It's a trick it plays on itself so that it doesn't ease down into a deep, comfy chair and stay there. Success is a moving target and you'll never hit it. But this is actually a good thing. There are people out there who feel successful or at least act that way, and you don't want to spend more than 3 minutes with them. I'm not saying it's a good thing to beat yourself up. Learning to not beat yourself up is one of the most important things you need to be a functioning adult. But this lack of self-satisfaction will keep you humble. It'll keep you from sinking into that comfy chair, which you can afford since you're successful now, even if you'll never be able to see it. So, Duke University School of Political Science, graduating class of 2018, embrace that feeling, that lack of success, the one that will someday make you cringe at your performance in Professor Fever's class 23 years ago. But also, every once in a while, take a deep breath and take an aspirin to dull your toothache and know you have accomplished something. Acknowledge both how good this feels and the fact that it makes you no better than anyone else, just a bit more successful. And then get back to work. Congratulations, graduates, and everyone that helped you get here. Thank you so much for welcoming me back. It's been an honor. And I just want to say thank you to my kids who made me a mom, and that's kind of the best perspective there is in the world. So.